It is truly beautiful. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. Whether you have been a member here for many years, or you've been here recently, or whether you're a first-timer, you are welcome. Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples is a welcoming religious community where each of us is encouraged to grow spiritually in fellowship with others by joining in worship and celebration, education and reflection and discussion. And we strive to do all that in a spirit of acceptance and love, commitment with one another, and mutual support in times of need. We invite everybody after the service for refreshments in what is it we call that room over there? There you go. I think we have to have a contest to find a new name for the. Excellent. Please know that there are hearing devices that are available at the back if you have difficulty hearing. I'll try to speak clearly into the microphone, and an usher will be happy to bring you that. There are also large print versions of the hymnal if you would like that. And now, let us begin. Welcome to all who come with a weary spirit, seeking rest. Welcome to all who come with hope in your heart. Welcome to all who are seekers of a new faith. Welcome to all who enter this hall as a homecoming. Welcome to all who seek escape from the cares and concerns of your busy days. Welcome. Relax. Take a deep, sustaining breath. Look around at your fellow travelers and know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. And let's join together in singing our opening hymn, number 90, From All the Fret and Fever of the Day. Rise and body your spirit. From all the fret and fever of the day, let there be moments when we turn away, and deaf to all confusing outer din, intently listen for the voice within. In quietness and solitude we find the soundless wisdom of the deeper mind. With clear, harmonious purpose, let us then bring riches burning to the world again. Please be seated. Breathe in the spirit of this hour, spirit and breath, two words whose origins are the same. Breathe in, remembering the fragility of life, how, like the flame, it hangs on air. Breathe out, remembering the need to live with love and intention. Breathe in, to be recalled to spirit, to its invitations and its demands. Please join me in the chalice lighting words in your order of service. We light this chalice flame. It won't be every week that I offer a teaching story, but you probably noticed that they are a favorite sort of medium of mine. So I have one for you today. One day, the Zen master Nanin had a visit from a foreign scholar, a well-known teacher of Eastern religions who came to inquire about Zen. Nanin welcomed the visitor in, gave him his best seat in the house, and offered tea. As Nanin went about being a good host and getting the tea ready, the guest began to talk about his studies, about what he knew about Eastern religions, about Zen. And when Nanin sat down across from him, the visitor kept talking and talking about all that he knew. After a lot of this talking, the tea was ready and Nanin served. As the scholar continued to talk, Nanin poured the tea into the visitor's cup until it was full, and then kept on pouring. The tea poured over the side of the cup into the saucer, over the saucer onto the table, and down the edge of the table onto the visitor's lap. At which point the visitor noticed, jumped up, and saying, "Don't you see the cup is full? You can't get any more in." "Just so," replied Nanin. "And like this cup, you are filled with your own ideas. How can you expect to give you Zen unless you offer me an empty cup?" Our cups are often full of our day-to-day life. This is a time in our service where we get to share some of that, some of our joys, some of our sorrows, those things that affect us most deeply during our week. We get to share them with each other, this community of love. So if you have a joy or a sorrow that you'd like to share this morning, the ushers will bring around the microphones. And I hope that you'll state your name and tell us what's on your heart, joys and sorrows.
Name is Chuck Dobler, and I want to thank all of you for the card that was sent. It was really appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Rick Gazzaro, and I have a great joy this morning that my 42-year-old daughter in Los Angeles, after a difficult third trimester of pregnancy and a 30-hour labor, delivered a healthy 7-pound baby girl by cesarean section Friday night.
It's wonderful.
Hi, I'm Lee Shine, and as most of you probably know, my mother passed away about a week and a half ago, but I just wanted to express my gratitude and joy for everyone who expressed their sympathy, and just the fact of being back here with everyone after probably 6 or 8 weeks of summer vacation. So it's just great to be here. Thanks.
My joy this morning, my name is Jim Flagler. My wonderful joy, by the grace of God, is that I've been able to have the power to form an organization called the Collier County Voters Association. I gave you a card this morning. Now what that is, it's a link between the voters and all the 27 elected officials in the county. And what my job is to find out what you believe as a voter and to communicate that information to the school board. And I'm interviewing all 9 candidates for the school board. I'm interviewing all 2 candidates for the county commission. In my home, videotape, which is going to be on my web page. I have 2 my personal web page, the Collier County Voters Association has a web page, and you'll see all of the candidates being interviewed by me personally. By the way, it's for you I'm doing this. You are all the voters of Collier County.
I just want to announce the Caring Committee has a card, a Thinking of You card for Betty Shepard, a longtime member of our church, and just feeling a little bit under the weather. We just want to let her know we're thinking about her and sending our best wishes for her feeling better very soon. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Heather DeRoche, the Director of Religious Education. It's great to see you all. I haven't seen you for a couple months. I just wanted to ask if you would all keep our families in your heart. The next couple weeks we have a few families that are going through some difficult times, and I just ask that you send your love and support to especially the children of our congregation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ellen Hemrick. I just wanted to say that I was really proud to be a UU last Sunday when so many of us stood up at the vigil for Mike Brown and lent our voices to the support of the people suffering in Ferguson. And I'm a member of both organizations that sponsored the event, so if you have any questions on how to support the people in Ferguson, please see me.
for all these joys that have been spoken and for those that have remained unspoken in our hearts. Let us sit together in our chairs, in our silence for a moment, and then we'll join together in singing Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123. Please join me in the spirit of meditation. Spirit of life, we pause in the stillness to rest for a moment, to quiet ourselves so that we can feel what stirs within. Each breath draws us closer to the pulse of life, and with each exhalation we make room for something new. May we find in this gathering the comfort of those who care. May we encounter patience along our growing edges and compassion in our most tender spots. May we find the inspiration and encouragement we need to face our challenges and nurture ourselves. And in the presence of suffering across the globe, may we redouble our efforts to practice kindness where we are and where we go, with the hope that the light of our action travels like the rays of faraway stars. May our gestures of compassion and generosity seed possibility. May we walk humbly with one another, choosing reconciliation over resentment, as we try to live right-sized when life presses in and shifts us off balance, when pain assails us, when frustration mounts. May the rhythm of our breath steady us and bring us back to this place of gratitude. In your order service, you will find our responsive reading for this morning. It's by William Ellery Channing, entitled Symphony. To live content with small means. To be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich. To study hard, think quietly, talk gently, act frankly. To listen to stars and birds, to babes and sages with open heart. To bear all cheerfully, to do all bravely, await occasions, early never. To let the spiritual, unbidden, and unconscious grow up through the common. You may have caught on that we're offering a bit more of a contemplative service this morning, a little quieter. But that doesn't mean your response to the offering this morning should be quieter and contemplative. In fact, we seek action at this point in time. This morning's offering will be gratefully received. The second reading this morning is from The Breathing Book by Donna Farhi. Every day, young children come to play in the sand at the beach where I live. They dance and spin, sing and shout, running wildly through the dunes and into the frothing surf, seemingly oblivious to the cold water and wind. Their aliveness is the envy of all the adults who stolidly tread the shore, amazed and exhausted by the relentless nature of the children's energy. Most of us remember the exuberance of our own early youth when we breathed with relaxed, open bellies and as a result had an almost limitless supply of energy. Then we began to learn and develop poor breathing habits. Now, as adults, we find ourselves looking for ways to reawaken this experience of aliveness, frequently turning to artificial uppers such as caffeine, sugar, nicotine, alcohol, or expensive megadoses of vitamins. Feeling the agitation that results from these artificial stimulants, we may resort to some form of tranquilizer to quell our growing unease. And thus begins the roller coaster of ups and downs. Or we subsist on the excitement of one fleeting moment after another, using our current obsession, whatever it may be, to momentarily ignite us. We have a sneaking suspicion that we could feel better, more energetic, more at peace, and that something not quite definable is missing from our lives. Curiously, the answer to recovering this dynamic vitality lies intrinsically within us, in the unconditioned breath that we had as a child. My stimulant of choice is tea. A newborn baby, fresh from the womb, struggles for its first breath. Eyes closed, mouth wide open, arms flailing. It has taken in some air, but as you or I would do in water, it gags on the unfamiliar, holding the air, not quite sure what to do with it. Finally, after what seems like an interminable pause, and sometimes with the help of a friendly slap, there is a gasp, a release, a faint exhale, followed almost instantly by a new and larger intake of air. The pump is primed, automatic processes take over, and the body draws its third and fourth and fifth breath of several 100 million breaths that constitute a lifetime. For the parents of this child, anxiety flows into relief and then into wonder. The moment, no longer considered the beginning of life, is still such an awe-inspiring event. That initial breath representing such a clear transition that it's easy to understand why the ideas of life and breath and spirit and creation should have become so intertwined. Life, breath, and spirit. In many languages, they go by the same name, Ruh or Ruah. In the ancient Arabic and Hebrew languages means both breath and spirit. Say that with me. Ruah. Ruah. In one of the two biblical creation stories, Genesis 2:7, it reads, "Then God formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature." Creation often comes with a fresh and healing breath. We're not a faith that usually talks about being born again, but can any of you remember a time when you had weathered a difficult storm, either literally or figuratively, and coming out the other side had taken that deep breath of release, the breath that marked both the end of one thing and the birth of, or at least the readiness for, something new? Anyone? creation often comes with a fresh and healing breath. Without some form of respiration, there is no life. Breath provides the oxygen we need for all the metabolic processes, literally supporting the fires of life. But as Alexander Lowen writes in his book, The Voice of the Body, breath as pneuma is also the spirit or soul. We live in an ocean of air like a fish in a body of water. By our breathing, we attend to our atmosphere. If we inhibit our breathing, we isolate ourselves from the media in which we exist. In all Oriental or mystical philosophy, the breath holds the secret to the highest bliss. Yoga teachers and meditation instructors will tell you that breath is life because it contains prana, which they know is the source of all energy. Pranayama is the art of controlling and using breath in such a way that physical, mental, sexual, and spiritual energy are maximized in an individual. Yoga guru B.K.S. Iyengar, who helped popularize yoga around the world and who passed away earlier this week, once wrote, "When the breath is regular, so is the mind. It becomes attuned to the winds of the universe." In my own transcendent experiences, those times when I have felt attuned to the winds of the universe, if you will, there was most certainly an element of breathing, regular, but somehow deeper and fuller, like the unconditioned breaths of my childhood. But in between those unconditioned breaths and the last shallow breaths of life, we humans do tend to settle into those poor patterns of breathing that Donna Farey talked about in her reading. We get all tied up for one reason or another, and at some point we do realize that there's something not quite right, something elemental missing in our lives. We put it off to the stresses and strains, the up-tempo of modern life. We fill our cups with stuff, and we don't know how to empty them again. But that's not all of it. Much of it's physical, stress and strain. But a lot of it has to do with the physical way our bodies respond and how we restrict, our bodies restrict the natural breathing response. I have clear memories of both ends of this spectrum. The deep, full breath and the shallow breath of our normal, everyday stresses. I will tell you that this is my favorite time of year, late summer, heading into fall. And part of that has to do with the memories I have of coming home from summer camp near the end of August and having what I thought of was time without time. Between the arrival at home and the beginning of school. And now I fully recognize that this came with privilege. My privileged growing up allowed me this wonderful experience. And I only became conscious of that much later. But during those weeks at the end of summer every year, there were specific moments when I was aware of the breath coming easily, the body feeling light with the energy derived from an active summer away. And it was the memory of those breaths and that lightness that made me aware in my 30s and 40s and 50s that something wasn't quite right. I can remember giving voice to this when Ann and I went on vacation. At some point in the middle of our week away, Ann would ask how I was doing, and I would clearly identify the fact that I hadn't yet taken that deep, relaxing breath that I looked forward to as part of getting away from it all. Am I right? Early on, she would check with me again at the end of the week And at first I might say that I hadn't found that breath, but as the years went by, I would usually dodge the question. Unable to find that release from the stresses that I held so tightly, I began to feel like I had somehow failed at vacation if I couldn't answer the question positively. Ultimately, what made it possible to make change and turn things around was a break in the rhythm of my life and the tentative beginnings of using breath meditation. The break came in the form of a trip to New Zealand and the Philippines and an experience that literally took my breath away. A story for another sermon later this year. But more important was finding my regular breathing rhythms through meditation. 5 years ago, in 2009, the result of my experience brought about the first deep breath of release in a long, long time. And the clarity for me to see my way to a new life. And no, I don't think of myself as born again, but I do think that breath is foundational not only to life, but also to health and to change. Over the last 20 years, studies into the benefits of meditation, including breath meditation, have shown that meditation can help reduce anxiety, tiredness, stress, chronic pain, and sleep problems. It can also help lower blood pressure. Some scientific evidence shows that meditation can help relieve particular symptoms and improve the quality of life for people with chronic illness and cancer. Research has shown that it can improve your mood, improve your ability to concentrate, reduce severe depression, and boost the immune system. Quite a remarkable thing. And available at home, not over the counter. How many of you actually took a deep breath during the opening words when I invited you to relax and take a deep and sustaining breath? There's a few hands there. Well, let's try it again right now. And that includes anyone who's watching online. Get yourself as comfortable as possible. Sit straight in your chairs. A little straighter. Close your eyes if you're willing, or if you're not, then put your gaze to the floor, perhaps in front of you. Relax your shoulders. And now inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Inhale slowly once again, deeply. Think of this as the first breath of the rest of your life, and let it go. Now take a minute and let your breath find its natural rhythm again, sitting quietly among friends in this sanctuary. Now you can open your eyes and join me once again. Welcome. How did that feel? I saw some happy faces. I saw some skeptical faces. We are a UU congregation. In the book of Job, the Lord demands of Job, "Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth?" And Peter Matthieson, in his book, The Snow Leopard, answers, "I was there. For no matter how the universe came into being, most of the atoms in this fleeting assembly that we think of as our bodies have been in existence since the beginning. Each breath we take contains hundreds of thousands of the inert, pervasive argon atoms that were actually breathed in his lifetime by the Buddha, and indeed contain parts of all the snorts, sighs, bellows, shrieks of all creatures that ever existed or will exist. These atoms flow backwards and forwards in such useful but artificial constructs as time and space, in the same universal rhythms, universal breath as the tides and stars, joining both the living and the dead in that energy which animates the universe. Remembering that creation often comes with a fresh and healing breath. May your own breath bring you in touch with all that is and ever will be. May you, in your quiet moments and in your busiest of days, find that sustaining breath that empties the overflowing cup of your existence, brings life, brings health, and brings the possibility of growth and change. So may it be. Amen. Let's sing together hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. Rise as you're willing and able. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If here you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting soul. If you have found your breath, tell others you know a place where they too can breathe deeply. Please be seated for the postlude. The breath of life is there within each of us. May you find it. May you cultivate it. May you breathe life on others. Go in peace. Amen.